The collective, everything is shifting. The collective, greetings, dear ones. We are very pleased to have this time to speak with you today. And so, what we are thinking of as we hear this beautiful, timeless song Woodstock, which apparently refers to one time in history, in the US and many other countries. It was a time of awakening. Wasn't it? A beautiful time of people standing back at what they had been taught in schools, and from religions, and from their particular economic strata and their economic system. They were just standing back and looking at it and saying, you know, this doesn't hold any much authenticity for me. It doesn't seem to hold many answers in terms of natural healing. It doesn't seem to offer people a path of soul growth. And it doesn't seem to allow for individualism. Now, what's interesting is that what was heralded then in the 1960s and early 70s was the very beginning of the age you are now in. Which, as one singing group called it, the age of Aquarius, this group called the fifth dimension. And the song came from a Broadway show, of course, that was all about young people who had long hair and who refused to believe that life was so mapped out, that there was no room for creativity or individual preference. And the input that the soul brings to one's everyday life. And so, it was just a time when people thought, everything is shifting and changing. Now, many tried to sweep that aside. They said, we don't care what the astrology says. What idiocy. What completely irrelevant nonsense. We don't care what people are feeling, or what they would like to do. We just know that you have to go to work for 40 or 50 years. And then if you're lucky, there's something to retire on. And you have to keep gasoline in the car, and you have to keep food on the table. And this was that older generation that had been through, and maybe 3 or more wars. They weren't fazed or surprised to see another being created and carried out in Vietnam, Cambodia. They thought that everyone should just go along and do as you're told. That's what we did, and we got by okay, most of us. And now, dear ones, you're in another place of severe objection to what the higher-ups, those in control, and those speaking from presumed authority have to say. And it isn't about political parties. It's about looking at these modern systems that talk about democracy and seem to offer that ways that are small, highly limited, but then when one compares it to the countries under authoritarian regime, one is supposed to be very thankful that, well, at least I don't live in one of those countries. Then lo and behold, these young people and others, those even up into their 80s, 90s, and 100s were marching this past Saturday, holding up signs and basically saying, look, we've become one of those authoritarian regimes. And it's because the corporations have decided to take over. This is the whole idea behind the word fascism, and what goes on behind that, dear ones. Because as beautiful light beings in physical form, you're going to look at life in a bigger way than simply what politics or the evening news will mention or think is relevant. You're going to look at things in terms of the cosmos. You're going to look at things in terms of what age are we in? How many thousands of years might that era bring us, and what would it bring us? What have we just released? What have we still got to release from our energies? Because we've been entrained so severely. We've been programmed. We've been held in a place of smallness. High levels of limitation, and low levels of freedom of thought. But what if we regained at least some of those DNA strands that were manufactured out of us as a species eons ago? What if we regained connection to our higher selves, our souls, our divine aspect, our divine selves? What if we began to look at the world not as a matter of an economic cycle and that lovely capitalist credo, that nothing starts or stops in the world till somebody buys something? What if we looked beyond it? What if decided we are the stuff of life itself, and we don't have to follow rules that do not reflect the power and the beauty and the enlightenment of our own souls? And so you all see yourself in this era, dear ones, and again, it's not about just how you vote, or oh, I like this politician, but not that one. Or oh, I hate party. I wish they'd go away. It's so much bigger than that, dear ones. And as these beautiful beings on the ships, and in the etheric look up on the earth, and many walk amongst you, no worries there. As they look upon the earth and what her people are deciding for themselves, they see so many millions, not just a few hundred, or a few thousand millions. Tens and hundreds of millions breaking out of the old entrainment, that you are small, and you have to have someone standing over you, telling you what to do, or else you won't be safe. We see millions, perhaps even half the world's population, at least, standing up and saying, there has to be something better. If all of us, with our consciousness, created this, we can create something higher. And the truth is, dear ones, you did create it. You're not facing enemies you've never seen before. You're facing old friends with whom you've had a number of arguments, sometimes outright love affairs. It depends on what life one is referring to. What dimension? What era? What timeline? You've all experimented something tremendous. So what is this dear one singing about in Woodstock, as this beautiful light being, in human form, is singing about getting her soul free? And is that only a matter of getting the mind free from the entrainment of modern life? Or any era on the earth, since Earth fell to the third dimension well against her own wishes, of course? Or is it bigger than that? We find that all of you would say, yes. Getting our soul free, and returning to the garden. Why else are we here? Just holding that idea in your hearts and minds, dear ones, it's so powerful. And what we're flowing to you right now, all of us in the collective, and your beautiful spirit teams, what all are flowing to you now, as well as your soul family, is the kind of encouragement, the kind of energies, that help you see beyond the strife, and the arguments, and the upsets, and the disruptions of your current era. So that you begin to realize, well, wait a minute. I'm here to anchor joy, in addition to everything else. I thought I was only here to anchor divine justice. I thought I was only here to become enlightened, and to ascend into 5D, and to assist others by anchoring a lot of light, to help awaken, or work with the crystalline energy grid, to work with my lovely friends and family, who are on the ships, and assisting Earth's people and Earth herself every moment. But it's much, much bigger even than that. As powerful and amazing as that vision is, dear ones, you've come in for far more. Because the Earth is awakening to where she is reaching out and connecting with other star systems, other planets, with other councils, intergalactic councils, and confederations. And you are working, all of you, to ask that there be integration with the higher energies, to where this environment of strife, not just this issue, or that, but this environment of strife and exploitation, and tragic loss, shifted to where no one sees the point anymore. And out of the blue, that image, that all of you have held near and dear to your heart, actually begins to occur, whereby the soldiers laid down their weapons, and refused to fight. Whereby the teachers refused to stick by the curriculum, and start to encourage the young people in front of them to think as individuals, and to celebrate their individualism. And to learn for the joy of it, not just to pass some utterly irrelevant exam hoisted upon young people these past 20 years, or so. You've come to finally connect with nature as the thing that sustains you, rather than something that makes you pull up weeds in the garden, and annoyingly rains on a day you wanted it to be sunny. And you've been trained, dear ones, to see this. And we understand that there are many of you that relate to nature on a very high level. But the training is there to see nature as something evil that has to be avoided, or tamed, or progressively civilized, which is a sort of funny phrase. Because the word civil has to do with the law. It doesn't have to do necessarily with behaving decently toward yourself and others and nature. So as you return to the garden, dear ones, you begin to remember who you are, in the biggest possible way. This is a huge vision. This is a huge, empowering vision. And you are never alone as you take it on. You're never alone as you travel the cosmos. You're transporting from one ship to another, comparing notes and comparing progress on your paths to help awaken the Earth and humanity. And though you hear these phrases many times, you're beginning to realize now, this is real. The work I do in the etheric, in my sleep, is very real. No wonder I'm tired when I wake up. I'm doing so much. Then you start to realize as well, I'm doing a lot on the planet. I meet with my soul family every night in the etheric. And we're adding light, and assisting our friends, who are on the ships all the time, and in at form. Many of them from our planet of origin, as they are assisting in governmental negotiations for peace. And letting world leaders know this time of wreaking havoc is not only limited. It's over. And they are giving these people time to move to a place of decency, and unfortunately, most are not accepting that. They are expecting that they will be protected by the same dark system that has protected them and their machinations for many centuries, thousands of years. But that is no longer so. And those who prefer to believe the lie, that the darkness is winning, are at a great disadvantage, because life will increasingly make less and less sense to them. Now, we know that there are many who are well-intended. Many who attend the churches and the synagogues and feel they are doing the right thing by supporting war, by supporting the arrogance of discrimination and inequality, by supporting great gaps in income, and saying that if somebody's poor, it's their own fault. And on, and on. And we can only say, hold these dear ones in the same form, the same light, and the same beautiful love that you hold for those whom you are encouraging. The individuals, the families, the children, the young people who are struggling with whatever challenges life has had to send them, there are many. And we just wish to say, dear ones, no one has abandoned you to this moment that feels so difficult. That feels as if you'll never get through it. So that you awaken in the morning. And you wonder, what now? What next? And the earth is getting hotter, in addition to which, how are we going to deal with these disasters happening? And the answer is, you're already doing it. Hold your light. The reality is that you are far greater evolved than you know. 97% of you relates beautifully to the higher realms. And the universal truth of divine love doesn't relate to what you see around you, whether it's a pile of unpaid bills, or an elder, or anyone in the family who's ailing and getting weaker. A child who's acting out on some level, or some relationship not working out, or whatever it is that you're going through, dear ones. You don't live on that level of struggle anymore. You live on that higher, beautiful, and enlightening level of divine love. Whether you realize it or not, that is your new reality. Not what appears to be going on around you. And you have read many authors, particularly in these last 40 or 50 years, talking about disengaging from being involved in reaction to appearance. That rather interesting word, appearance. And you all know that lovely old line about how fear is false evidence appearing real. And we could not agree more. There is no time in your history, particularly in the US, but in other countries as well, where we would see this happening more vibrantly than now. Appearance is not to be fallen for. We ask that you not fall into despair or upset if things are happening that are hard for you personally or out in the world. That is not your reality. Your reality, dear ones, is this absolutely powerful soul that birthed you into earth life, knowing that there would be some point of separation between you and that beautiful sphere of light, that beautiful flame of your soul that never goes out. And if you want to connect more with your soul, call it in, dear ones. Say, my soul, I require a high focus, a strong focus of light pouring into me now, particularly for this issue, and name it. Call on your divine self. That soul is always free. So what you're really hearing from that wonderful singer, what you actually hear that dear one named Joni, in this life, saying to everyone about getting back to the garden, and setting her soul free, what you're really hearing is, I accept the journey of becoming my higher self. And seeing the garden around me, because I am birthing that from within. And so then your orientation shifts powerfully out of reacting to what's around you, and looking forward to next week, when maybe this, or that will be better. You're just in the moment, but your consciousness is relating to the beauty of divine love that is everywhere around you. You cannot escape it, and none of you would try. As you begin the day, giving thanks for whatever good things you can think of, and yet another day on this beautiful planet, thanking the earth for all that she gives you, and everyone, you're starting a day wherein you are calling forth not only your higher self, but the power of your own soul. and the presence of your soul family and your twin flame with you, right by your side at every moment. And of course, the truth is, dear ones, they've never left you, and they never will. So again, we flow forth beautiful energies, to remind you of your divine self, and that garden you seek is already deep inside you, and absolutely requiring to come out now, and to share its joy. So we send much love, dear ones, full of thanks, for the beauty of the light that each one of you shares. Namaste. Intuitive Astrology, Scorpio Full Moon May 2025. The Scorpio full moon will reach its full glow on May 12th. Its presence in our dark night sky will act as our reminder that all is not what it seems. Life is a mystery, a web that is forever weaving. Perhaps it is only when our time has come to an end that we are able to make sense of our journey and the fullness that it brings. The Scorpio full moon is one of the most magical full moons of the year, as it beckons us to dive deep. If we dance on the surface, we can struggle with this watery full moon, but if we allow ourselves to really settle into our being, to really honor the darkness and the light, we can find this full moon enlightening and awakening. The Scorpio full moon and Uranus. The Scorpio full moon holds the essence of transformation and can help us peel back layers to reveal a higher truth. The universe has already presented us with many cosmic alignments that have been encouraging us to transform over the last few months, so while this energy is nothing new, we may find the energies of the Scorpio full moon assisting our metamorphosis. Uranus, the planet known for change and upheaval, is active under the May full moon. When Uranus aligns with the full moon, we tend to get some unsettling energy that can shake and rattle the core of our being. Uranus likes to turn things on its head and get us thinking from a new vantage point. Uranus, active under the moon, can also trigger the things that are unstable in our lives, bringing our attention to what needs to be secured. Uncertainty is rarely comfortable, but Uranus teaches us to release control and embrace the mystery of not knowing. How open can we be to going with the flow? How okay can we be with not having all the answers? Surrendering to the flow is what we are being called to do here. On a larger scale, Uranus in Taurus, opposite the full moon, can also trigger a lack of stability in the global markets, and is sometimes also an omen for environmental disasters, especially earthquakes. While it's easy to get lost in the chaotic energies that Uranus brings, there are some softer influences around this spiritual full moon that flow in from the goddess asteroids Juno and Triclo. The Scorpio full moon and the goddess asteroids. Juno is the goddess of marriage. She represents healthy unions and a strong partnership. It is also interesting to note, however, that Juno has the gift of birthing children from her own body, without the help of the man, making her a powerful creator. We can lean into the creative energies that Juno offers by remembering our own creative powers. We can use her wisdom to look for creative solutions to any problems we are facing. Juno being active under the May full moon also represents a positive time to work in harmony with others and ask for help from those who have been there before us. In fact, this full moon may just bring a helper or guide into our lives that can help facilitate our way forward. Triclo is the asteroid goddess of spirit medicine. She reminds us of the healing powers of Mother Nature and calls for us to nurture our bodies with herbal medicines, natural essences, and good food. If you are struggling with your health, under this full moon, turning to natural therapies may be extra beneficial for you. You may also find some comfort in using food as medicine and paying attention to the healing power of nature. While Triclo does remind us to utilize the natural healing abilities of Mother Earth, she also helps us to experience awakenings through our own healing journeys. Sometimes our physical body suffers, but Triclo helps us to take that suffering and understand it on a deeper level, to bring about awakening and instigate our own healing powers. We all have an innate self-healing ability, and while this doesn't mean we turn away from external medicine completely, remembering that this power lies within us can help us to feel more confident and aligned with our bodies. It may also attract us to the right remedy at the right time. The Scorpio full moon teachings. The Scorpio full moon certainly has many cosmic influences flowing from its light, and ultimately, we may find ourselves feeling extra sensitive and introspective at this time. Be gentle with yourself, and recognize that this full moon holds both dark and light. Don't shy away from her shadows, instead lean in, for that is where the real transformation and magic unfolds. Source: rayofflight.com. The other videos are in the English video playlist. Help me spread the light, click like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.